Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Lessons Learned, the dumbest thing I've ever done with money. My name is Suzanne, and I'm the head coach at G.R.A.C.E Financial Coaching. And I am so excited to welcome Laura Sexton today. Laura Sexton is also a fellow financial coach who went through financial coach master's training, just like I did, and is also a Ramsey Preferred Coach. Laura helps couples unify their relationship through a shared vision and common language around money. Her ultimate goal for her clients is to live abundantly and build generational wealth. Hey, Laura, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Yes. So tell us a little bit about your coaching practice and how you help people.
Yeah, I'm so excited to really kind of think about what it is that I do because I was talking to somebody today who said, "Hey, what do you do?" It's the hardest thing to explain to somebody that I'm not just teaching you dollars and cents on a spreadsheet. What we're talking about is money mindset. We're talking about the habits around your money. So I like to say that I equip people with the tools and habits and mindset that they want to pass on to the next generation. So my company is called Accelerate Your Legacy because that's what I want to help people do. And I don't just talk to them about a legacy of, again, dollars and cents. I talk to them about a legacy of good speech that they're passing on about money, right? We talk about also, because if you have children, what other types of legacies do you want to leave? If you want to be a person that your children think of as loving and responsible, what does that look like? Is that something you can do with money? And
Yes.
we kind of encompass all the things.
So a common theme on this podcast is that I frequently say, as Americans, we like to talk about sex, politics, and religion more than we like to talk about money. So
Hmm.
it's interesting that you mentioned the verbiage and the words that we use about money, surrounding money, but especially in front of our kids. So what do you tell
Yes.
your clients about that?
I like to have open, honest conversations. And I think it's very interesting because I grew up in a home where we didn't talk about money, but I felt very secure with money. And so I went off on my own thinking life is great. I had no idea you had to pay back a credit card. So that was interesting because I never saw it done.
Mm.
And when my husband and I had our first money conversation, it was, "Hey, I think we're going to have to file bankruptcy." So that was our first money conversation. And that I can remember anyway. I can't remember any before then. And I called my mom and I was like, "I'm so embarrassed. Like, I don't even know anybody who has ever filed bankruptcy." And she goes, "What are you talking about? We filed twice before you graduated high school." This is how much we did not talk about money. And yet I still felt so secure. I was like, "I got this. Everything's great. Everything always works out."
Oh,
Apparently it doesn't.
wow, that is
Mhm.
unbelievable. So what got you from, hey, honey, how was your day at
Mhm.
work? We may have to file bankruptcy
Yeah.
to Laura Sexton, financial coach, because pretty much every financial coach and even some financial advisors I interview on here started from a place of not
Right.
understanding money personally. They may
Yes.
have been a finance major. They may have I took plenty of finance classes with my business administration major. That didn't mean I was
Right.
paying off a credit card properly or utilizing it properly.
Right.
So, how did you get from point A to point B?
I am so thankful that I have a boss that decided I was worth taking the time to teach. Um, I had when we had this money conversation, I had a 2-month-old baby. It's my first, and I was already suffering from severe postpartum anxiety, and then I was thinking, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go back to work because I don't know what other options we have."
Right.
And my boss was very kind. He's like, "Have you ever heard of Dave Ramsey? Have you ever heard of Financial Peace University? I'm going to put you through it." So he put me and my husband through Financial Peace University, but he wouldn't let us go to the next lesson until we sat down and talked to him about it. So he basically coached us. And so I started on this crazy journey. Our starting amount was $372,347. And that's an insane amount of debt to have. Our net worth was negative 355. There was nothing. I had no assets. I had a car. Like that was pretty much it. And we were like, okay, we're gonna turn this around. And people started following my journey. Friends of mine, were asking, every once in a while they're like, oh, this is so interesting. Well, 2020, we went into 2020 having just paid our last payment December 31st, 2019. So we went into 2020 completely debt free, feeling amazing. I was like, the whole world is our oyster. We're going to be great. We had everything. We had our 3 to 6 months emergency fund by March. Like, we were ready. And then, of course, the whole world shut down.
March 2020, baby.
And we live in Southern California, and all of my friends are actors and entertainment people, and that
Oh,
everything shut down. They couldn't work in their restaurant job. They couldn't work in their passion job. They couldn't work anything. And because I'd been so vocal about it, they were reaching out. They're like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So I started coaching them. I had no idea that's what it was. I didn't know that was a thing. And as I continued to do it more and more, somebody reached out and said, hey, did you know that there's like, you can actually make money from this? I was like, I'm sorry, I can do what?
right. It's
I
actually a
can
job.
I can make money helping people, doing the thing that I love to do. Great, let's do that. So I signed up, and I signed up for financial coach master training, and then the next week, my 5-week-old son went into the hospital for emergency surgery. He was 5 weeks old, and I was so scared for him, but I never had to worry about money. The whole time I was in there, I had my 6-month emergency fund. Financially, I was solid.
Right.
And while I was in there, I took all of FCMT in about a
Oh
week.
my gosh.
I had nothing else to do. I had nothing else to
Right.
do. He's
Right.
5 to 6 weeks old. He just sleeps all the time. And the only person I have to talk to is the doctor when they come in to check
I was
on
saying
him.
you're not the surgeon. I hate to
I
use
got,
this example, but it's like when I used to work in commercial real estate. I was a property manager for multi-million dollar
mhm,
properties. And I used to joke around with people. I'll get a phone call when one of my buildings goes on fire, but I'm not the firefighter. I'm not
right,
putting out the fire like,
right,
oh, the building's on fire. All right. Has anyone called 911? Okay, I'll get there when I get there because the
right,
firefighters are going to show up. They're the ones doing the work,
right.
right?
I have no water hose for this.
Right, right. I don't know how to turn it on. So,
But yeah, I mean, it was just crazy that I went through all of this, and I said to myself, I was like, I can't have experienced this much peace around this much of a scary situation and not go out and shout that from the rooftops. Like, I have to. I have to tell people there's a different way to handle your money. There's a different way to relate with your money. And so that's been a thing that I've been really focusing on. What is your financial identity? Who do you want to be with your money? It's a totally different way of thinking, and it's been fun to kind of explore that for myself and with my clients.
yeah. So, 5-week-old baby was baby number 2.
No, that was baby number 3.
That was baby number 3. Okay, gotcha. So everybody's happy and healthy.
Uh-huh, and now we have baby number 4.
We have baby number 4 in the background. I love it. That's awesome. So, prior, your dumbest thing you've ever done with money. Prior to
Yeah,
the babies, during the babies, tell us about it.
right? So I like to say that the dumbest thing I've ever done with money is I went to college for a degree that I knew I was never going to use.
Oh,
Uh-huh. So I went into this real dumb because I was first generation college student. Nobody on either side of my family had been to college. We didn't really know what we were doing. We thought all colleges were the same, and I needed to go across the country to California to go to a private university. So not only was I out of state, private school, uh, it was California.
right. 3,000 miles to get back for Thanksgiving if you even
Absolutely.
could. Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. That was one of the other really smart things I did. I got a credit card for emergencies and then put flights home on that. Anyway, yeah, I get a lot of pushback from saying that going to college was my dumbest thing, but it's not the education that was dumb. It was the way I went about it. And the fact that I had a full ride to Baylor University. Why didn't I use that? I don't know. don't have any idea, except I wanted to go to California. I wanted to be an actor, and I got to do that for a decade, and that was wonderful and fun and amazing. And I knew I went to school. I got a bachelor's in political science, and my joke had always been, because I was planning on being an actor. So my joke had always been that I was either going to use the degree or be an actor. One way or another, I'd be lying for a living. That was my that was my thing. It was great. But, I
Oh
still
my
not using
god.
it. Still not once.
Oh my gosh. I would say the same thing. I went to a liberal arts Christian university not far from home where it would be at most $150 to get back and forth each way without
Mhm,
anybody driving me. And I still look back and say, I wish my parents told me I had to stay in state.
mhm,
I wish hadn't done the private school part of it.
right.
I didn't walk away with a ton of student loans. My debt was more credit cards at the time. Um, so I am thankful for that. But I look at some of the friends that I have today who have kids who are starting school, and it has gotten so expensive.
It's
And in
insane.
2023, it's finally starting to click with some people. My kid can go to community college in some states for free
Right?
for the first 2 years. They can
And
finish community college for free,
absolutely. Uh-huh. With an
and then they can
associate's.
transfer to a state school that's $6,000 for both semesters.
Right.
Why on God's green earth wouldn't we do this? It's still college, and one of the things that I love the most is, um, has anybody ever asked you where you went to college when you started coaching them? Did they say, "Hey, can you take that diploma off the wall and show it to me? I just wanna make sure you
Right.
graduated from a
Yeah,
college."
nope. Nope,
No.
not once.
Yeah.
Not once. You know, it's funny because I go into my doctor's office, my the what is it called? Optometrician?
Oh, yes,
The eye
optometrist
doctor?
or yeah,
Like, why
mhm.
can I not make this English happen out of my mouth? I don't know. Um, so I go in there and he's got all these diplomas on his wall, and I'm like, "Huh, that's probably really expensive." Never once looked to see where he went to school though.
Never
Probably should have
once
looked at
stood
that.
up, walked over to the wall,
Uh-huh.
and read the fine print of where
But
he
it looked
actually went to
really
school.
expensive
Yeah,
because there's a
yeah.
bunch of them. I was like, "Whoa."
The only time I've ever spoken to a doctor about where he went to college is when I was I distinctly remember the way the exam room was set up. His diplomas were behind me, and so I'm facing, the nurse coming in or him coming in or whatever, and he said that he went to the same college that my sister had gone to. If he had not said it out loud,
Right.
I still to this day would not know.
Yep.
But it's one of those things that are there certain careers where it matters where you go to
Mhm.
school. Are there certain careers where it matters that you can get into certain alumni? That it really, to be honest with you, sometimes the alumni association is more
Right.
important than the piece of paper. Certain alumni from certain schools focus in different industries. If you're
Right.
focused in an industry, if you know exactly what you want to do, exactly how you want to leave college, and exactly the job title you want to get into when you're done, that might be worth it then to
Right.
have access to those alumni databases and those networking groups. Outside of those specific people, I mean, would you put your four children? I'm sure they're all completely different.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
all showcasing different personalities, and you already know which one's the most likely to go to school for something specific and which
Mhm.
ones may not go to college at all.
Well, my oldest has decided she's gonna be an artist, so I feel like we're really gonna need to set up a trust fund for her because
I
I
love
don't see
it.
her making a whole lot of money on that. But my husband's like, "Great. So what, you're gonna be an artist. How are you gonna make money with that?" And she, for her all she's like, "You don't make money with art. You just make art." I'm like, "We're gonna have to we're gonna work on some licensing
Yeah.
agreements. We're gonna figure this out, honey, because like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna let you just float off into the I'm not paying for you for the rest of your life, and you're gonna have to do something eventually." But it's just so cute. I'm just like, "Yes. Mhm.
Right.
Whatever you wanna do," because she's my oldest is 6.
Right. We're
So,
not talking about 17-year-olds
whatever
who
you wanna
are
do,
right.
honey. Yep. Mhm.
But it's just so interesting. A lot of people have come on here and said, in one form or another, college was their biggest mistake, whether it was the school they went to or the major they had.
Right.
It was just not the right decision. They
Yeah.
didn't go through it the right way. So If you could go back, how would you change it?
Yeah, so to be completely honest, I still would have come to California.
Mm.
I just would have not gone to college.
What would you have done?
Well, I was an actor, so I was
Mhm.
actually my senior year, I had classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I made it to maybe 1 or 2 of those a month because I didn't care.
Right.
I could not have cared less, and I wanted to be an actor, and I was able to be on camera 5 days a week. Why would I
Mhm.
not go spend my time doing that? It's like, well, I'm already almost done with this. I might as well finish it out. So I would have still moved to California, but I would have moved and gone directly into my acting as opposed to having a fallback because what was I falling back on? Like
Right.
when I did eventually fall back, it was not on that.
Yeah. Yeah. What made you choose political science?
It's fun. I got to
Ah,
argue. I got to argue in every single one of my classes. So I like to say that arguing is a spiritual gift of mine.
that's nice. Is it one of your love languages?
Oh man, I call my mother frequently and apologize
Oh.
because I'm like, I'm so sorry, mom. I'm so sorry. Because now my 6-year-old is exactly like me.
Oh.
And so I get to fight with myself all the time. I'm like, oh, mom, I'm so sorry.
I love it. That's hilarious. At least she knows that you know, right? There's
Yeah,
got to be some beneficial relationship
right.
points
She's
that
like, I
you get.
appreciate you calling me and saying this. And she's like, well, one of these days, it's all going to work out. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh, that's great. So, what would you say to somebody who has a 16-year-old or has a
Mm,
17-year-old right now and may be very focused,
mhm.
narrow-minded in what they want to do in your situation, which was being an
Right,
actor. So what would you say to that parent if that parent was one of your clients and they're like, "Oh man, we got the 16-year-old, the 17-year-old. We really want them to have college to fall back on because this doesn't seem like a very
right,
popular career path that they're going to do well in."
right. You should never pay for college or anything else if it's not the only way to do something. There are multiple different ways to do things. And I also think that there's a shift happening in this world where we don't know exactly what we want at 18 years old. We don't know who we want to be when we grow up because our age of maturity is pushed past that. It used to be you turn 18, like you're going to be married next week and have a kid in 9 months, right? Like it used to be this quick turn to maturity when you turned 18 and it's just not that anymore. And so I would recommend that any teenager that thinks they know what they want to do, find somebody that's doing that and go
Mhm.
sit down with them and find out what it actually looks like because we live in a world where everything is Instagram and everything has a filter. And people are telling you the wonderful parts of their job and they're not telling you that day-to-day grind. I had a cousin who wanted to be a nurse and he went through all of his nursing things and everything he needed to go through. And then his first week of nursing school, he's like, I don't want to take care of that person. They're like, well, too bad. You as a nurse, you have to he's like, no, it's gross. And they're like, too bad. So he went through all of his college and all of his nursing program and all of his things and then found out he didn't like the job. It wasn't what he thought it was.
Right.
And so we need to make sure that we know exactly what we're looking at. And it doesn't take anything but, $30 to go buy somebody a cup of coffee and a bagel and sit down with them and say, tell me the gross parts. Tell me the parts you don't like. Tell me the parts that excite you and get you to get up in the morning. Like, I want to know everything on both sides of the spectrum.
Right.
And if we can get our teenagers to go do that, they might have a better understanding. But also, if they're going off to college and they don't know exactly what they want to do, have them go to community college, have them go and get those fundamentals and learn a little bit more about life. And then maybe they'll know what direction they want to go in. But it makes no sense at all to go to school, pay $30,000 a year for you to get your basics in math and reading. Like reading?
Yeah. Yeah.
English? You know what I mean?
No. And I love you, Laura, but you're dating us. It's not $30,000 a year anymore. It was
Oh,
when we
come
were
on.
there.
I don't want
Yeah,
to think about it. I don't want to think.
it's
I don't.
crazy.
It scares me. But I'm hoping that higher education is seeing a turn. I'm hoping that people are voicing their opinion that, oh, college isn't the only way now. You can go online and get certified for anything. You can go
Right.
online and get your MBA. You can go on like online education. There's so much to learn online, and there's a lot of it that's free. MIT puts all of their classes online for free.
I we learned that in, now I'm really dating myself, but we learned that in Goodwill Hunting,
Mhm.
that most of their classes were available for free.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's true.
But still,
And
they're
they still
still
even offer
available.
in-person classes that people can show up um, for free. Members of the
I did
community
not
can
know
show up
that.
for their classes
That's
for free. There's
amazing.
a lot of schools like that. But the community college thing, where you are, I'm pretty sure in California, the first 2 years
Mhm.
are free.
Yep.
Community college, Connecticut, New York, I think New Jersey may have passed it. Illinois, there's a lot of states out there where if you're not taking advantage of that, I mean, listen, just do 1 year of it for free. And if the kid wakes up and decides this is what I want to do and I've changed my mind, I want to go to a 4-year school for X, then do that, but at least take advantage of a year or two to figure out what you can do next, what you can do with that free opportunity.